We want to move into a time of sharing information with you as a church. I'm going to invite Aaron James, who is your lay leader, and Andy Frost, who is your chair of trustees, forward. They're going to be helping to lead this. As we do this, I want to especially thank your trustees who have been meeting a whole lot these days. Thank you, family members, for letting them do that. Touring spots, buildings, land, etc., and making lots of important decisions. So if you are here this morning and you are a member of the Board of Trustees, would you stand for just a moment so we can say thank you? We've got several of them here. We're meeting to share an update on our church and a big decision that is being made. And to guide us through this, Aaron James, your lay leader, is going to first remind us of our values, and then Andy Frost is going to take us through that process as trustees. So, Aaron?
Good morning to all of you. Good morning. So let's remember our story. The bridge was formed in January of 2023 and met initially in a barn. We quickly outgrew that space and visited schools, 5 Points, other potential spaces for worship. In February of 2023, just before we officially chartered as a United Methodist Church, we began to rent this gym space here at Central School, where, of course, we've been ever since. And we are so grateful to Central for working with us and renting this space to us. In addition, in the spring of 2024, we began to rent office space and ministry space at 401 Walnut Street from Evangelical United Methodist, just down the road a bit. We're also grateful to Evangelical for working with us and letting us use their building. But from the start, the bridge has focused on ministries and impact in our community and not a building. We want to be a faith community where Jesus leads, service transforms, and all are seen. And we try to put this into practice all the time, most recently with our May Bridge Service Day. This will continue to be our focus going forward. In light of that focus, last fall, our trustees began to research new spaces for worship and ministry. This was driven by several needs. First, we are in desperate need of more space on Sunday mornings for nursery and children's ministries. We know this is really important for families with children. We also need to improve our worship experiences, particularly our online and streaming capabilities. Online worship is an important ministry to our members who, for health reasons or sometimes other reasons, simply are unable to be here with us at worship. It's also an important way in the contemporary world for people who are curious about us to see who we are and what we do. We also need to address the weekly burden of setup and teardown of a stage, cameras, lights, sound systems. There are so many people who dedicate a lot of time to doing this, and we owe all of them a lot of thanks for their work. They do a lot behind the scenes every single Sunday. And in addition, in keeping with our vision and our mission, we have a need for continuous access to space for ministries and services to our community throughout the week, not just on Sundays. So with all of that in mind, Andy Frost, chair of the trustees, is going to share some more information about that process and outcomes from the trustees search. Andy?
Morning, how are we all doing? You really want to know what I'm going to say, don't you? Should we do an awkward moment of silence? No, we'll get to it. So, when we're looking for expansion, what do we have to do? We have to look at our audience. What do we need? We need a space for ballpark 250 people to worship on Sunday. We need a space for children's ministries, a nursery, Sunday school room, something, we can put something on the wall and it'll be there next Sunday. Agree? Okay? We're grateful for what we have here every day, but we want to put our name on a wall. Adequate parking is important. Access to all people, 24 hours, 365 days a year is important. All days of the week. Working with our finance team and church council, we've determined that we could afford roughly between $8,000 and $12,000 each month. For anybody that's looked at commercial space, it's amazing what these places want to bill you for, or what it takes to make one of these spaces, mind you, that isn't remodeled, to make it usable for us. Different properties we looked at empty land, looked at Cherry Tree Shopping Center, looked at Sunnyland Plaza. Just for example, right next to the GYM, there's an old furniture store right there. That's $12,000 a month as is to rent today. After our 2 viewings of it, that space has not changed since it was a furniture store. So, give you an idea, infrastructure, to rebuild that, it's going to take quite a bit. So, with all this in mind and all of our searching, roughly in March, a church family notified us that they're purchasing a piece of property. 10 acres, ironically, with a pole barn on Cummins Lane in Washington, Illinois. Everybody's minds are spinning right now. Everybody's minds are spinning now. So, the property met all of our parameters: worship space for ballpark 250 people, designated space for children's ministry, nursery, access at any time, adequate parking, and is accessible 24 hours, 365 days a year. Location is very visible, 10 acres on this site. The owners will be modifying this and changing it, not at our cost. Massive right there. Massive. Open space that is approximately 5,000 square feet will be multi-purpose space. So that's the theme, multi-purpose. Hardwiring some AV stuff in the walls so that it's up and away, but keeping the worship area wide open is our goal. Youth can use it for whatever. I mean, pickleball in the sanctuary. Can you imagine that? You can do it, right? Front area will be nursery, Sunday school rooms, large conference room, and another multi-purpose room in the front. Trustees have designated a lease for this space. After necessary construction, we will hope to be in this worship space ballpark October, early November. We're talking construction, okay? So things happen. We will keep you abreast of any updates or anything that we can find in there, but we've signed a lease for 5 years on this property. Why did we lease instead of buy? So in order to purchase a property, being we're a United Methodist Church, we have to go to the council and we have to ask permission. Can we buy this space? What does the space have to look like? That takes time. Ballpark another year. We'll see, process. With leasing, we do not need the Illinois Great River Conference to sign the lease, but we need to get approval for the existing infrastructure if we were to change it in any way, shape, or form. So that means if we're putting money into the building, we would have to get their permission. Make sense? Okay. So at this time, our lease itself is an open-ended lease with the opportunity to purchase it at any time if we so choose as a congregation. Okay? At this time, we're leasing the property. We will not be adding anything to it today, but there's a lot of factors in going into adding into a building. Agree? Can we occupy our space we have today and use it to its full potential? What do we want to look at in the future? We don't know. I don't know. It'll come, but we'll constantly analyze that. Our current plan is to occupy the space and keep focus on our ministries, many which are outside of the building. The decision to lease and purchase may seem strange. Essentially, the 3 principles we're guided by is: first, we do not know the name of the space. I already said that. I was ad-libbing. Weird. Second is the process, as far as we shared earlier with the permission from the higher-ups within the UMC. And finally, we're focused on our ministries outside of the building. As a church, we're constantly revisiting these needs every month. Jesus is leading us forward. We are committed to transforming our church in different ministries without the church, such as branches, home ministry, Bridge Out of the Building, our discipleship ministries, and many, many other ministries that we participate in within this organization. Having a home as a mission statement will enable us to focus this service mission. Remember, building is never our mission. It's not, the building isn't it, nor is it a church. Some of us learned at Sunday school many years ago, the church is not a building, it is not a steeple, the church is not a meeting place. The church is our people. Okay? So with that, what questions do you have?
As you were doing that, I was, remember, we did that with our fingers, all right?
I was supposed to do that, wasn't I?
You were. I was doing it at least. This is your, yes, please.
It's common, Andy, with a lease for the interior build-out to be paid by the entity leasing the space. Are we paying for the interior build-out, or are the owners paying for the interior build-out?
As of right now, the owners are giving us a usable space.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the really good question. It's common when you're leasing a space for the leaser to be paying for any renovations inside that space. Andy mentioned Cherry Tree, which was about $12 grand a month to lease. We would be responsible for all of the build out inside that space. So really good question, and I promised I would repeat those questions, so that's good. So now you can give your answer.
So our landlords, for lack of a better term, will be providing us a leasable space with everything done inside of it. The special niches that we need as a church community, AV, wall mounting stuff, chairs, for example, tables, stuff for Sunday school rooms, we would be responsible for. So compared to other commercial leases, exactly what we were talking about, that wouldn't be our responsibility.
So they're paying for flooring, paint, drywall?
Yes. They're paying us for base structure. If we want to upgrade, go to the super value meal, that would be our responsibility.
Yeah, we've had some discussions about, for example, some areas where we may want some carpet, especially like a nursery area. Obviously, little ones crawling around on the floor. Those would be things that we would be providing, paying for. So that there will be some things that we choose to do that we'll be paying for. There was a question right there, Tracy.
Is there an idea or plan for supplying a setup for funeral meals, like any kind?
So our question was, is there an idea for funeral, celebrations of life, weddings, everything across that? Yes, there is. We're working on that part of it. Being that it's an open space, it's 100% transformable, I would say that definitely is available.
So like a mini kitchen kind of?
Yeah, there's going to be a kitchenette. It's not going to be like a traditional church kitchen, with the overhead stove and the 20-burner stove. No, it'll be basically a countertop with a place to wash dishes and different things like that. Tucked in the side, out of the way. But the stuff and things, the things inside of it is what the trustee team are currently focused on that would enable you to have those events.
The other part of that, which is a really good question, is we are continuing to lease space from Evangelical United Methodist Church, which provides us with offices also with the use of their kitchen, which is a really nice full kitchen and fellowship space. So for a while, we're going to continue to lease that space as well. Yeah, please.
Speaking of the Evangelical Church, was there any discussion that took place, this exploration to join, merge,
Thank you.
however you would like to term it? It would seem like the Evangelical Church, they need membership, but they have a building. We have membership, but we need a space.
That is a great question. So the question is, has there been an exploration of a merger with Evangelical United Methodist Church, sharing the space there? We have been sharing space for two plus years. We've had some discussions with Evangelical. They are still a fully functioning United Methodist Church. They worship every Sunday morning on 10:30. 10:30 in the morning. They do an amazing amount of mission ministry out of that building. two kind of guiding things with that. One, it is very, very challenging to merge two congregations. And this would not necessarily be true of evangelical, but there have been other situations where the kind of hosting churches felt like the new church came in and took over our building, took over our ministries, and we would not want to do that. The bigger challenge is the worship service. Obviously, we worship almost simultaneously with them. We did have some discussions about, well, if we moved our worship service to a different time. That's a really good question, and we have had discussions with them about that. So, be glad to talk some more about that. We have a deep appreciation for what Evangelical is doing in this community. They have a strong sense of identity, and that should be celebrated. So, other questions? These are really good questions. Please ask your questions. Please, yes.
Are there lots of concerns about the utility bills in the new space?
Yeah, sure. Utility bills, so we'll be responsible for the utilities at this space. Currently, correct me if I'm wrong, they're running sewer and water to the space.
So the current space runs on well and septic. City water, city sewer will be attached to that. We're responsible for all power, all sewage. We're also responsible for property taxes for the place. It's a standard commercial lease. I've learned a lot about commercial space. Yes, we are responsible for everything on that property. Good question.
Yes, please.
So what is the financial impact on a monthly, maybe, I know there's a lot that goes into that, but if you subtract what we lease here, what we lease at
Sure.
Japan, and what's that kind of look like at a high level? I know.
So really good question about the financial impact on the church, what that will look like. As Andy shared earlier, our finance team and our council kind of ballparked in that $8,000 to $12,000 a month. We felt we were comfortable, given the current financial situation of the church, to afford. This will be easily in that range. So we feel pretty confident about that. One of the things that I think has guided the trustees and the council in this process is making sure that we don't do things in the short term that impact a long-term decision that we might make. Do we want to buy that land or land? And so we want to protect monies that has been invested wisely down the road to make those decisions. This lease will allow us to continue to do that. It will not impact the investment of those long-term funds. So really important question, and glad that we can answer that. And we've got council people here and finance people here. You're always welcome to stand up and chime in if you want to chime in. But I think that was the consistent. I'm looking for my finance and council people. I think 8 to 12 was the number they felt comfortable at in terms of that monthly lease. So really good question.
These numbers also support keeping our existing missions that require funds in full service and not adding more.
Good question. Other questions? Really good questions. Yes, please. Taylor.
Are our future landlords choosing to keep themselves anonymous at this time, or are we allowed to know who they are?
Our landlords are an LLC, and I can provide you that name. Our landlords wish to be landlords.
Really good question. Are our landlords wishing to remain anonymous at this time? There is an LLC that's been set up. So the answer is yes, they wish to be anonymous, but they are very friendly towards the bridge. I think we can say that. So. And being very generous with the bridge, which is even more significant part of this compared to the other spaces we looked at and the cost of that, where God has worked all things out here. Other questions, please. These are really good questions. We want to make sure if you have questions, you get them answered. Yes, please.
Is there any concern with the former tenants of that location with the chemicals?
Are
They're
there any?
gone.
I'll
They're
raise a
gone.
question. I'll let you jump in. Is there any concern with the former tenants of that property, chemicals, et cetera, that may be left over? So go ahead, Andy.
So we're gutting the entire place where the chemicals were at. There'll be nothing left except an outside skin. It'll meet all the EPA guidelines for safe occupancy and also all the permitting that is needed to be done by it.
Really good question.
For those that don't know, there was a mosquito place there that's got special sauce they spray around. We don't want the kids licking the walls with special sauce.
I'm more worried about the adults than the kids licking the walls, so.
Yes, sir.
I know we would be like adding infrastructure to the inside of the barn, but would we be expanding on the outside of the barn in any way?
Good question. We'll be adding some infrastructure to the inside of the barn. Will we be adding to the exterior of the barn? The answer is yes, and you can explain what that is.
So we're going to be putting in ballpark 2 acres of parking. For right now, it's going to be gravel parking. There's concerns with handicap access for that. So for those of you who are familiar with the building, the whole front end of the building will be handicap accessible with a nice gradual ramp to get up, straight in the front door, meet all not NADA. Thank you, ADA guidelines. With that, if the church would like to expand and get rid of the gravel, that's a conversation that the trustees have. If we want to put blacktop down wherever we want to put it, we'd have to go to our landlord and say, hey, we'd like to put 2 acres of blacktop down. We'd have to go to our budgeting meetings. We have to go to general council meetings. Things don't turn around overnight. We're being open and honest as best we can with everything we can tell you guys. You guys will know. Go to any trustee in this room. Go to any council member in this room, and they're more than welcome to share you anything that we do there.
There will be a wing added on for the bathrooms and the kitchenette area.
Today.
And some storage. So that will be in before we get in to use the space. And that's the primary reason why we're thinking October, November. As it currently is, there's 1 small bathroom in this space. Probably not going to work.
So with that, there's room there. That's City of Washington. I don't know if you guys have looked for houses in the area. As soon as they pop the market, they're gone. Real estate's the exact same way, and it requires a premium price tag on it. This space meets our needs. The lease is awesome for us. The potential to grow, that's where you were going with it in the future, like 5 years down the road. It's all conversation we have in 5 years. We got to take baby steps first. Let's get there, right? Let's get there, move in, sit down, smile, relax. Maybe go there on a Wednesday. Maybe a Tuesday. Maybe have an overnight there. I don't know. I mean, right now we got nothing. So, yes, sir, ma'am. Sorry.
Thank you. So who is designing the interior of the space? Are there opportunities to have input on what that looks like? Really good question.
So our landlords are designing the space and we're leasing it. If you have design questions, feel free to come to myself or any of the trustees. I want to remind you that paperwork was signed on Friday. So permitting, general permitting, this is the process you have to go through to do everything. You're more than welcome to come to myself or anybody on my team. We can talk to you about it. Everything's sort of in flux right now. The big
trustees.
Trustees
The
team.
trustees.
So you can get a hold of me or
Trustees, raise your hands again so they can see. You know somebody in this room that's a trustee that you can talk to. And to add to that, the one thing that we did want from the beginning is a dedicated nursery space, which is very important to us, a secure space, a safe place, and rooms for kind of Sunday school breakout rooms, whether that's the Ask group or the youth group or children's ministry, some places where they can meet. And then really the primary focus initially then was a big space like this that can be used for all sorts of things and is not dedicated for one thing or another. So really good question, Helen. Yes, please, Pops.
I don't have my hearing aid, so this question may have been asked. What's the total cost to get there and how close are we in the budget?
All right, good question. What's the total cost to get there and how close are we in the current budget?
total cost as far as our lease cost right now? Is that where you're going? How much does it cost to lease per month?
Total.
Yeah, the lease is
Line or lease?
We're leasing.
$7,500 a month.
We're ballpark at $7,500 a month before utilities, taxes, different things like that, which we don't know what the power bill is going to be when we move in. So we're looking about 75-ish. I'd probably bump that close to 8,500-ish. and right around in there. Our lease is signed, the dollar amount signed, but the variable is taxes and then obviously utilities.
Other questions?
Mind you, every trustee meeting is open.
Yeah. And I think there will be opportunities. We'll be coming back to you again and giving you updates. There'll also be some opportunities for us to put some equity in this building ourselves. So
Correct.
if that's something you're interested in and you're really handy, unlike your pastors with hammers,
So we're going over we collected our data, needs analysis, for lack of a better term, of everything we're gonna need for this church. Tables, chairs, little tiny chairs, big chairs, bar top chairs. Chairs. We've also gone and visited churches. Last Tuesday we were at Hope United Methodist in Bloomington, and we were at Downs United Methodist building. We graciously enough opened up their doors, not during a Sunday. It was weird. And we went and viewed and saw what worked for them and what worked for these other people. And do we know what's going to work for us? We're going to try.
Coke.
No, I just want to make a comment. I think this is a wonderful job. And you guys probably did an awful lot of work. And you need some major recognition on what's been done.
Thanks.
We're supposed to be up in Chicago at 1 o'clock, so we're not walking out from you.
I got to be a graduation here.
What I'd like to do at this point, you know Andy, Aaron, trustees, please reach out and have individual conversations with them. Please be in prayer for this. This is now public, so we're aware that people knew something was happening. It's now public. There's no reason to keep a lid on this. We have signed the lease documents, so we're official there. Obviously, we'll be back here next Sunday, so don't go there next Sunday. I'd like to close us in a prayer. We're going to sing one last song. I know people have things to do, graduation, etc. We're going to sing a last song in just a minute. But again, I'd like to thank your leadership team. So if you are a trustee, council member, or finance member, would you stand so we can say thank you to you? All right, let's pray. That'll give our vocalists a chance to hop back up here, and we'll ask God's blessing. God, this is another big moment for us as a church, and we are reminded that the church is never a building. Let it never be a building for us. But what a building is a mission place. A place for us to gather and disciple, a place for us to gather and learn, a place for us to gather and receive our commission to go out in the world. And so even as we land in a place and a space, keep our hearts focused on you. And remember that your Son walked through the world. Let us walk with him. We pray these things in your name. Amen. I invite you